Toyota Hybrid Reliability, the 2026 Honda CR-V Hybrid service schedule, high-mileage hybrid maintenance costs, and the true cost of automotive ownership are the primary topics that dominate the conversation once the new car smell of your 2026 model has officially worn off and you are staring down the barrel of a major service milestone. Why is it that Toyota and Honda, the two undisputed giants of the high-voltage world, take such radically different engineering paths when it comes to the 100,000-mile service? And which one of these philosophies is actually designed to drain your savings once the factory warranty has become a distant memory? If you have been looking at a brand new 2026 Toyota Camry or a redesigned Honda Accord and wondering if the Toyota tax you paid at the dealership is actually a down payment on cheaper long-term repairs, or if Honda's electric first design is secretly more expensive to maintain in its second decade of life, your gearhead instinct is absolutely right to be skeptical, because the rules of the high-mileage game have been completely rewritten by modern digital complexity. By the time you finish this deep dive analysis, you will understand the precise engineering debt each brand carries into the six-figure mileage. You will uncover the hidden reason why Honda's direct injection system creates a maintenance bill that Toyota avoids entirely. And you need to stay tuned until the very end, because I'm going to reveal the one specific $30 component in the Toyota system that, if ignored at 100,000 miles, will lead to a $6,000 electronic failure that no Honda owner ever has to worry about. This is the honest, research-backed truth about Toyota versus Honda maintenance, and I am answering the questions that dealership service managers are praying you never think to ask. To understand why the 100,000-mile service is the ultimate moment of truth for a 2026 hybrid, we have to examine the thermal management debt of each system through the eyes of a mechanical engineer. In the 2026 auto market, both Toyota and Honda have moved to highly sophisticated multi-loop cooling systems to keep their high-voltage batteries, power inverters, and internal combustion engines at the perfect operating temperature. From an engineering perspective, Toyota's fifth-generation hybrid system is a masterpiece of efficiency, but a literal plumbing nightmare for a mechanic. It features a dedicated inverter cooling loop that is completely separate from the engine cooling system, using its own electric pump and specialized super long-life coolant. At the 100,000-mile mark, Toyota mandates a full flush of both systems. Because the inverter loop is incredibly sensitive to air pockets, which can cause localized hotspots and fry a $3,000 circuit board in seconds, the service requires a specific software-driven purge mode that only a technician with a high-end diagnostic tool can properly execute. The labor cost for a Toyota 100K cooling service is consistently 30 to 40% higher than a standard gas car because of this complexity. If you are a father looking to keep your 2026 RAV4 hybrid for 20 years, you have to accept that you aren't just paying for a simple fluid swap, you are paying for the specialized expertise required to manage a high-voltage thermal grid. Honda's e-HEV system, featured in the 2026 CR-V, Accord, and Civic, takes a different but arguably more expensive mechanical approach at high mileage. While Honda's cooling system is slightly more integrated and easier to bleed, they carry what I call the carbon debt of modern fuel delivery. Unlike Toyota's D4S system, which uses both port and direct injectors to keep the intake valves clean of carbon buildup, most 2026 Honda hybrids rely solely on high-pressure direct injection to hit their fuel economy targets. Research into high-mileage Honda units in Europe and Asia, where these systems have been on the road longer, reveals a concerning pattern. By 100,000 miles, the back of the Honda's intake valves is often coated in a thick layer of carbon crust caused by oil mist from the PCV system that never gets washed away by fuel. While this isn't on the official maintenance minder schedule that the salesperson showed you, veteran mechanics know that a 100K service on a Honda hybrid must include a walnut blasting or intensive chemical valve cleaning to maintain engine efficiency and prevent misfires. This is a $1,000 service that a Toyota owner simply never has to perform, creating a hidden maintenance gap that favors the Toyota owner who plans to reach 300,000 miles.
The controversy deepens when we talk about the transmission mystery at the six-figure mark. Toyota's e-CVT is a planetary gear power split device that the dealership claims has lifetime fluid that never needs to be changed unless you are towing a trailer. As a veteran gearhead who has seen the inside of these transaxles, I am telling you that lifetime is a marketing lie designed to lower the cost of ownership rankings in Consumer Reports. By 100,000 miles, the Toyota World Standard WS fluid is filled with microscopic metallic debris shed from the planetary gears and bearings. If you do not flush that fluid, those particles begin to act like liquid sandpaper, slowly eroding the varnish insulation on the high-voltage electric motor windings tucked inside the case. Once that varnish fails, the motor shorts out, and your reliable Toyota becomes a $7,000 paperweight. Honda's e-HEV system, however, uses a physical lock-up clutch and a different grade of ATF DW1 fluid. Because Honda's system involves a friction-based clutch that engages and disengages during highway cruising, the fluid actually experiences more shear stress and thermal degradation than the Toyota oil. Dads and pragmatic owners across the globe are starting to realize that the smooth Honda drivetrain actually requires more frequent fluid intervals, ideally every 50,000 miles, to prevent that lockup clutch from glazing and causing a violent highway speed shudder. In the 2026 market, if you follow the manual to the letter, the Toyota system is statistically more likely to survive neglect. But if you are a proactive maintainer, the Honda system provides a more traditional mechanical feel that is easier for an independent shop to service. We also have to address the brake-by-wire reality that hits the family budget at year 10. Both Toyota and Honda have eliminated the direct physical link between your foot and the brake calipers in favor of complex electronic master cylinders that blend regenerative braking from the motors with hydraulic pressure. At the 100,000-mile service, both manufacturers recommend a brake fluid flush to prevent internal corrosion. However, the research shows that the sensors and actuators in Honda's electric servo brake are significantly more sensitive to moisture contamination in the fluid than Toyota's more mature architecture. If you skip a brake fluid flush on a 2026 Honda CR-V, the internal solenoids are prone to sticking, which leads to a $3,000 replacement. Toyota's system is arguably more robust because they have been refining the same basic electronic braking logic since the 2004 Prius. The brutal truth for the second-hand buyer is that a used Toyota is a safer bet for brake longevity, while a used Honda requires meticulous documentation that the brake fluid was changed every 3 years, or you are essentially inheriting a massive electronic liability.
The psychological factor of resale value anxiety also plays a massive role in how these 100,000-mile services are perceived in the 2026 market. Data from used car auctions shows that a Toyota RAV4 Hybrid with a dealer-certified 100K service record trades for nearly 15% more than a Honda CR-V with the same mileage and history. This is because the used car market, the group of people who actually have to pay for repairs out of their own pockets, trusts Toyota's planetary gears and dual injection engines more than Honda's dual motor clutch and direct injection setup. This creates a maintenance trap for the Honda owner. You often have to spend more on preventative engine cleaning and clutch health just to maintain a lower resale value. Toyota owners pay the Toyota tax up front at the dealership, but they reap the rewards at the 100,000-mile mark through lower mechanical degradation and higher equity in their asset. Let's talk about the suspension tax that no one mentions in the brochures. Because hybrids are significantly heavier than their gas-only counterparts due to the battery packs, the 100,000-mile service is usually when the rubber and metal bill comes due. On the 2026 Toyota Camry, we're seeing that the lower control arm bushings and struts are nearing the end of their service life by 100K miles. Honda, known for its superior chassis tuning, uses slightly more complex multi-link suspension setups that provide a better ride but have more points of failure. Replacing the bushings and ball joints on a high-mileage Honda hybrid is consistently more expensive in labor than on the simpler Toyota McPherson strut design. If you are a driver in a region with poor roads, like parts of the US East Coast or Australia, the chassis debt of the Honda can add another $1,500 to your $100K service bill that the Toyota owner might be able to defer for another 2 years. I want to hear from you in the comments below, because this is where the real-world research comes from. If you have reached 100,000 miles in a modern Toyota or Honda hybrid, what was the actual total on your invoice at the service desk? And did the advisor try to sell you on a hybrid system flush or an inverter conditioning that wasn't in your owner's manual? Are you a Honda loyalist who believes the superior driving dynamics and normal transmission feel are worth the extra carbon cleaning costs? Or are you staying with the boring but predictable Toyota because you just want to reach 300,000 miles with the least amount of drama? Let's get a real argument going, because the truth about these ownership costs isn't found in a glossy dealership brochure. It's found in the grease and grime of the real world and the actual repair invoices that families are paying every day. We need to hold these manufacturers accountable for the long-term repairability of their high-tech designs, and that starts with sharing the data that the corporate offices want to keep quiet. Now, as I promised at the beginning, I'm going to reveal the one specific $30 component in the Toyota system that is the absolute silent killer at the 100,000-mile mark. That component is the hybrid battery cooling fan filter. While Honda's system is slightly less prone to clogging due to a different air intake path, the Toyota RAV4 and Camry use a fine mesh filter located behind a plastic vent under the rear seat. By 100,000 miles, if you have pets, kids, or even just live in a dusty climate, this filter is likely 90% blocked with hair, lint, and dust. This doesn't trigger a check engine light or a warning on your dashboard immediately. Instead, it forces the high-voltage battery to operate 10 to 15 degrees hotter than its design limit during every drive. This thermal overload causes the lithium-ion or NiMH cells to degrade exponentially faster through a process called internal resistance spiking. Dealerships almost never check or clean this filter during a standard 100K service because it doesn't generate a high labor fee. But if it isn't addressed, your battery will likely fail at 120,000 miles just out of warranty. It is a $30 part and a 5-minute cleaning job that determines the fate of a $6,000 battery, and most Toyota owners never even know it exists until they're paying for a new pack. If you are serious about reaching the 300,000-mile mark and you want to arm yourself against the dealership's high-tech scams and lifetime fluid deceptions, knowledge is the only tool that works. Dealerships are banking on your ignorance of carbon debt and filter clogging to keep their service bays full of out-of-warranty repairs in the 2030s. Don't let them win. You worked too hard for your money to hand it over for a repair that could have been easily prevented with a GearHead perspective. Arm yourself with the facts, see through the marketing fluff, and remember, in the 2026 market, the most reliable car is the one owned by someone who knows that maintenance is an investment in your future freedom, not just an expense on a spreadsheet. If you appreciate this kind of veteran, fact-driven analysis that refuses to bow to corporate pressure or dealership games, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you never miss a deep dive, and check out the video on your screen right now where we break down why Toyota's move to zero W8 oil might be the biggest reliability mistake in their long history. This is GearHead Genius, and remember, every car has a story, but only the owners know the truth. See you in the next one.